Yo, Nate, I
What's
saw
up,
that.
group?
I saw that fucking brilliant thread that you fucking produced the other day.
Yeah, thank you, man.
You motherfuckers on the space need to click this dude's profile and go back to this thread he produced. It's extremely insightful, and I agree with every fucking line and all the pros in the thread. What's up, brother?
Appreciate it. I was just gonna actually talk about that. I didn't know if you saw that or not. I really think your sort of picture of listening to obsession or intuition, and like essentially my idea is listen to intuition and physiology. That's sort of the Ray Peat idea. I talk a lot about him, and essentially I really just think it's following your senses. Which I think is our connection to the divine when you listen to your obsessions or intuition or edge, as you would say, or so where I think is like a thing that I'm seeing the connection that needs to be bridged is like, where do you see the role of physical health as a base? I know you sort of already talked about it with the stimulants, in connecting you to your obsession and fueling it rather than just following your obsession and just not caring about the physical part.
So there's
Since
two
I
ways.
tend, oh,
There,
since
I
I
think
tend to think when the health is fucked, like this literally comes first. Like if your gut is fucked, you're not going anywhere.
yes, but there's an irony there. So there's a horseshoe phenomenon that I've noticed. Like guys have been asking me a lot lately, how do you find your mission? And what's interesting about the question is I think the fastest way to find a mission is actually to nuke the fuck out of your gut health. Like if a guy is totally fucked up with ailments and health problems, he's going to get a mission very fast that's readily available to him. Because there is some sort of murk, like clarity emerges from the sort of epistemic murk, is my experience. So like a motherfucker with nuked gut, that motherfucker has a mission readily available to him, and that's probably to get his health back. But that's the stepping stone. So for me, what I've noticed is nobody accomplishes anything in an anabolic state. The anabolic state is like the Tesla coil where you're charging up a lot of energy. All the magic in life, all the force production comes from being in a catabolic state. It's when you're tearing apart your own flesh. It's when you're eating your own muscle. It's when you're fucking devouring yourself and your own mind. That's when the greatest works of art, it's when the greatest novels are created. It's where people find their fucking genius is in the catabolic state, which is why, and this circles back perfectly, the Venice muscle beachheads that I talk about that are obsessed with anabolism, which has become a right wing phenomenon of being fucking strong and viral at all fucking times. Those motherfuckers don't do anything. They're the ultimate loiterers. They're the ultimate fucking malingerers. They don't do anything. They don't accomplish anything with all that supercharged energy. So at some point, once you build the foundation of health, and you have that peak crystal vitality that everyone's in search of, that's when you have to start devouring it in order to accomplish shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm going through it right now. I got a little bit of a fucking power belly right now. I'm usually fucking shredded. I usually have a fucking six pack. I can't even see definition in my abs right now. Cause I've been very convivial. I've been enjoying drink and food and I haven't been lifting that much. I don't give a fuck. I'm in a catabolic state right now, but I'm also producing my best works right now. You know what I mean? I'm finishing my book. I got a film crew here. I'm doing my docu-series. I'm launching myself into the fucking atmosphere, groping with ideas that other people aren't grappling with right now. And it's because I'm in a catabolic state. And so it's like, I think what you said in the thread that was the most profound, one of the most profound insights that you said in that thread. You said something to the effect of when you stopped lifting and you stopped training, that's when you sort of started to upregulate and sort of find your stride. And I found that to be extremely fucking fascinating. Can you amplify that idea for us?
Yeah, pretty much. My gut was completely fucked. And what you were saying completely aligns with my experience. Was that the worse my gut was, is actually what got me out. It is literally the thing that turned me to the way I sort of know what you said. Like you get inventive when shit goes wrong. So that's kind of what led me into discovering the things that I talk about regarding health. I learned so much. I talk so much more clearly about it. I understand it so much more clearly, and that led me to the idea that the only way that could improve my health was through listening to the intuition. And my intuition said, I'm lifting, my gut's getting even worse, I'm getting bloated all the time. Shit is fucked. I can't keep it going. So the thing that I did was just have to drop it. I just have to just stop doing it for now. I'll get back to it when it's time, but I had to let my gut heal. And from listening to that, I was able to live properly. And then the thing also was that eating carbohydrates, eating things, eating in the way that supports the metabolism, again, it promotes the flow of energy. It promotes the flow upwards. You know, I think life is a constant flow of energy. And when you support the metabolism through eating carbohydrates, easily digestible food, and just this whole picture of preventing harm and supporting energy, which I think kind of is in line with you. That's why I'm kind of well, I kind of want you to get into this idea of metabolism and carbohydrates, but I really just think that it's kind of a flow that you kind of just increase and just follow the senses.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Maybe you have some insight into this. So, a personal experience that I've had recently is I started to tinker with coconut water for hydration, and I found a brand who sells raw coconut water. So it's completely unpasteurized, and it's really good shit. But I've noticed when I drink it, it doesn't quench my thirst at all, and I'm fucking horrifically thirsty afterwards. Doesn't matter how much of it I drink. I've tested. I've drinking fucking 10 bottles in a day. I'm horrifyingly thirsty drinking this fucking coconut water, which I thought was supposed to be extremely hydrating. And that's like one of the first times where obviously I'm ingesting a lot more sugar than usual. Do you have any possible ideas there?
I have a feeling that it's actually making you increase your nutrient requirement. I feel like you might actually be hungry, not actually thirsty. I mean, it sounds kind of silly, but I know what you're talking about that phenomenon of feeling like you're even more thirsty drinking it, and I think it just has to do with needing more nutrients.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because I've been fasting like a motherfucker recently. Like super fasted. Like I'm probably at 1,000 calories a day.
I think the issue with fasting for kids that are younger is just how fucked the health was. This is one of the things that I understand the spiritual idea of fasting, but the thing about polyunsaturated fat and all the stressors that the younger kids have gone through, burning polyunsaturated fat is the thing that impairs the metabolism. So I actually considered fasting, and I realized through the reading Ray Pete that that is really just not a good thing to do. You're elevating free fatty acids in the bloodstream, causing inflammation. And then what this does is impair the metabolism even further. So then I realized, okay, this is too much of a stress. Someone that's older who doesn't have the stresses can get away with not eating carbohydrates, not fasting, but usually in a poor state of health with the younger generations, your liver is not as strong, all these different things you got to be aware of. So it's like, that's kind of the picture that I'm using.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then from the spiritual perspective, obviously, if you look at it through a prism, like if you do have a mission and you're dedicating your body and depleting resources to carry out a mission, that does have a revitalizing, restorative effect that's inexplicable because the mission acts as sort of like it's almost like plugging your fucking umbilical cord into a nutritional mechanism. Like the mission will feed you, and it'll feed you like virtuous qualities too. It'll feed you love. It'll feed you a sense of community. It'll feed you a lot of things that ordinary things cannot replace. Just having a mission in general is the most potent thing for vitality, in my opinion.
I would agree. I think that the one thing that it does is that it literally, on a physiological level, increases the metabolism. You know, I think of stuff as flow versus static. I think flow is having stimulating work. Anything that's static is 9 to 5. That's all of the shit that they promote you to do. That's putting you in the middle. Like that is what the static is. That's why people aren't drawn forward. We need to be drawn forward. We need to be chasing. We need to be sprinting. We need to be looking towards desire. We need to be looking towards obsession. That is the thing that keeps the flow going.
100% agree. So it's fair to say that these cardio obsessive motherfuckers who do these fucking, long term Ironman marathons, they run hundreds of miles, the cyclists, They're constantly just fucking burning themselves to pieces. I believe that they are metaphorically in search of a mission, and that's why they're doing such strenuous cardio.
Yeah,
Because
I actually think that if you think of like runners, why are they skinny? Why are they're pretty much hypometabolic. They are hypothyroid. And I think the reason that they want to run is because they are getting the illusion of repairing the flow of energy by sprinting or by going on these long distance endurance exercises. But it really, all it's doing is just prolonging the state. It's kind of just
bingo,
like of almost a fake way of improving it, but it's really making it worse.
bingo, 100%. So it's a placeholder for having a real mission.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I think so too. I think so too. Whereas the explosive, the hit, the high intensity movements are a little bit more aligned, because you know how I've always said, like, the way you train, the way you do one thing is the way you're supposed to do everything. I think it's very odd to me how somebody lives a fast twitch lifestyle but then goes in the gym and trains slow. Like, I believe you're supposed to train and lift and move the body in the same fashion that you move mentally. Those things reinforce one another. So that's why, like, I love the fast twitch explosive movements in the gym, because it matches perfectly the biochemistry in my mind. It matches the way my brain works. So like, if you put me in a gym and force me to jump on a machine and move slowly for max hypertrophy, that shit's gonna slow down my mental capacity. I've always had that intuition.
Yeah, this is, I think, the main picture of like bioenergetics, or what you would call like the Ray Peat kind of thinking, is that energy and structure are interdependent at every level. So if you think of like the things that you do as either building structure or depleting structure, it will be a guiding principle for everything you do. So again, if you lift and that's the only thing you do as high intensity, think of that as building energy and structure. And if you think of something like long distance endurance, that both of them. So
Yeah, I jive with that 100%. Beautiful, brother. All right, Nate. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
yeah, appreciate it, man.